Tim Miller, the Bulwark, confronted Dave Rubin the other day on the Piers Morgan show. And we have to take a look at this. Aside from the pure entertainment fact of seeing somebody challenge Dave Rubin's questionable nature, I think a really important thing is how Dave Rubin responded to Tim Miller challenging him. Because he used a very specific technique that is used all the time. Trump uses it, a lot of his media people use it, and it's a way of trying to overload the person who is calling them out. So we're going to take a look at that. Again, thank you so much, guys. The growth around here has been nuts. If you like the video, please drop a like, hit that sub button, and you know we do love our members. Thank you so much. Here we go.
I think it needs to stop. This needs to be accepted for what it was. A tremendous error which could have had tremendously serious consequences. And if it was a senior military person who'd done it, they'd already be gone.
For sure. Look, to that senior military example, look, Pete Hegseth has already fired several generals. He's fired several people throughout the Department of Defense. So is Elon Musk.
Dude, Pete Hegseth firing generals is like the most hilarious fucking bullshit thing. You know what I mean? It's like a toddler firing his dad, bro.
The DOGE process. Imagine, we're doing the hypotheticals. What about Biden? I think the more apt hypothetical is, imagine if a low-level general who was involved in this operation had texted the exact time and location of a military strike to an anti-Trump journalist. Now, and imagine if that general is one of these woke generals that they're going after. Maybe it's a black general or a woman. Imagine what Pete Hegseth would be saying today. Imagine what Dave Rubin would be saying today. We know what these guys would be saying. These woke generals, they're the deep state. We need a court martial. We need an investigation.
Oh, Dave Rubin's like playing the I'm not going to react game. Oh, shit.
The person needs to be fired. I think we can all agree that that is what would be happening today. That person, if they were a 2-star black general or female general and they had done this, they would be fired today. I think that's very obvious. And so, look, Pete Hegseth might be a mate of yours, might be a good person. I don't know. I've never met Pete Hegseth. But to me, you read this signal chain, and this looks like it got its way in over his head.
Dude, Pete Hegseth has a massive Crusader tattoo on his chest and a bunch of white nationalist tattoos and NDAs of sexual assaults. Like, that's part of the reason why he's there, because Trump owns him, because they know what's in those NDAs. That's why. But what a fucking degenerate.
And this is not, if General Mattis here, it's impossible to imagine General Mattis texting emojis and all caps pathetic to like a signal group chain, preparing them for when the strikes would be. It's just, it signals to me somebody that's not serious, it's not up for the job. The fact that then on the chain, he says, we have 100% operational security here, and there's someone on the chain he doesn't know. You didn't check to make sure you knew everybody on the chain.
Think about that, though. You ready? The Department of Defense head didn't check to see who was on that thing. And nobody on that was like, maybe we should take this to a skiff, or have you checked the chain? Are we good? All the top level people just wandered right into flaming pit and dove in, bro. Jesus, inept.
I think it shows just an unbelievable lack of seriousness. And I think clearly if this was one of the woke generals that Pete Hegseth doesn't like, they would be fired today and there would be a DOJ investigation targeting them.
All right, Dave Rubin, a lot to unpack there, but a lot I agree with, I have to say. Look, let's talk about the signal aspect. If they, as you say, and I've seen that report, if they were encouraged to use Signal, and in fact it had been put on a lot apparently of their phones and so on when they came into their positions, so they're allowed to use Signal, which is deemed to be one of the more secure ways of communicating. And you believe, as Pete Hegseth clearly did, that you've only got on there the Secretary of State, the Defense Secretary, the National Security Advisor, and so on. In other words, all the senior members of the cabinet that would be involved, plus one or two hand-picked staffers who are at a very high level. If you assume that's who you're talking to privately, then I'm not too fazed about emojis and stuff like that. You've got to have some presumption, I think, when you're conversing with people at that level, that you presume to be that level, that it will remain private. So the thing that still exercises me, though, is just that if it hadn't been Jeffrey Goldberg, but had been somebody who wanted to really damage the administration, they really could have done. And you could have seen American planes blown out the sky.
Sure. Look, there's a couple of things going on here. First off, I think your guest in the center, I'm sorry, I don't remember the congressman's name. I think he said it was illegal to use Signal in these chats. Now, again, Ratcliffe, who is the CIA director, is saying, as you just said again, that it was preloaded on their computers and devices. So I don't think that's illegal, but if there's some legal portion of this.
Well, just for the record, it's
illegal to share classified information.
Classified
material over Signal.
Well, just to introduce you again, Jake, for Dave, it's 𝗡𝗚𝗪, who's a Democrat congressman from Massachusetts. So, Jake, you want to respond to him?
Okay, so, well, there's some issue as it pertains to whether
you cannot share classified material over Signal.
Okay, so that's interesting. So, all right, so, Congressman, just to be clear, it is illegal to share classified information over Signal. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the military has its own entire network. They have SCIFs inside the homes of every senior military commander. They have SCIFs co-located with the Secretary of Defense precisely so that they are not putting highly classified operational plans on commercial messaging apps. It's illegal, full stop. And Pete Hegseth needs to own that accountability, because if this happened to a corporal or a captain or a general, their career would be over. He shouldn't have this job in the first place, and my goodness, he certainly shouldn't have it now.
Dude, he should have never had this job. The guy has no fucking skills, bro. He's a fucking major, dude, with limited combat experience, never led a fucking unit, never presided over any large-scale thing. In fact, his own members of the military called him out because of his white nationalist tattoos. So he was a problem, and he's never managed a huge budget or a big budget organization. He managed one like $2 million nonprofit, and he ran it into the ground in like a year, dude. He was a Fox News host. That was really all he was. He had copious issues with drinking and sex crimes or alleged sex crimes, women under NDAs. His own mother was like, dude, you're a fucking abuser. Like, stop abusing your ex. His own mother said that. Like, this guy is fucking trash, bro.
Dave, I mean, if it turns out that that is correct, and I don't dispute what the congressman just said, then, you know, should Pete Hegseth consider his position? It's a legitimate question, which Republicans would be asking of a Democrat.
I don't know. I can only hear the information that you're hearing on the fly the same exact way. If it turns out that they were told you are not allowed to put classified information in a Signal chat, and they went ahead and did it, even though it was preloaded on their computer, and Ratcliffe testified that he was briefed by people at the CIA about using that stuff, well, then there's a secondary problem. And also, it should be reiterated, I don't think anyone here is defending the fact that Mike Waltz apparently let this guy into the chat. So there is some intellectual consistency here. And it's up to Trump. Trump has to decide what.
Dude, Dave Rubin is so smarmy, dude. He is like so smarmy. I swear the people that convert from leftism to become right-wing grifters are like the smarmiest people. I mean, of course, that tracks, because you'd have to be pretty fucking smarmy to sell out your humanity for some money and some fucking power, but they're so smarmy.
What he wants to do right now. Does he think this is a big enough scandal and it's worth firing a guy that he just brought into NSA or not?
It's not up to Trump. See, this is the problem.
Yeah, it is not up to Trump. I mean, Trump is not a fucking king, bro. There should be investigations in the Department of Defense, like, where are the inspectors general? Oh, yeah, they all got fired.
With the way Republicans, this is the problem with the way Republicans are acting these days.
And also, I would think that they could have a congressional investigation. The House Oversight Committee could be doing, right? I mean, they looked over every facet of Joe Biden's. They were, like, looking at his feces and shit for like 2 years, bro.
Is they act like a board of advisors.
Democrats
to the
just had 4 years of a president with dementia and a completely unqualified cabinet and virtually everyone that had anything to do with it. So tell me more.
A completely unqualified cabinet? Like, really? Dude, Lloyd, the fucking head of the DOD, was a fucking general, dude, with 40 years of military experience.
About the Republicans.
The Republicans act like a board of advisors to a CEO as opposed to a separate and co-equal branch of government. They have abdicated their responsibility. Mike Johnson acts like a courtier. John Thune acts like a courtier. They're the ones who confirmed this junior varsity squad of people who are getting out-competed by the Kremlin and out-negotiated, who are being laughed at by the Chinese Communist Party right now as they prepare to blockade Taiwan. This is threatening the safety of the American people.
Dude, this guy, he knows. Tim guy's like, read it, the riot act. And look at this guy, this smug little bitch. Dude, the junior varsity crack was a good one. This smug fucking bastard.
Tim, the difference is that we are not the people who get outraged over every joke and every word and every sort of innuendo. It's you guys who do.
Well, so good.
So I'm not outraged at the joke. I'm outraged at the fact that a human rights campaign fundraiser where it's about all the marginalized people and the perceived oppression of the trans people and everything else, that there she's making a joke about disabled people and they're laughing at it.
Oh, the Hot Wheels, the Governor Hot Wheels. Oh, look at you guys. After you shredded Bud Light and after your president like mimicked. Remember Trump when he was like mimicking with his hands and shit? I'm not going to do it. But bro, all right.
I'm not outraged at the joke. I make far worse jokes than that on my show every single day.
I mean, let me bring in.
So we're slicing it kind of thin there. So we're going to pretend to be outraged about her joke when the president of the United States core brand is making these sort of jokes. So I wouldn't, if I was her, I wouldn't have put out the statement afterwards. If it's me, you know, I don't know. I think that Dave's kind of business model over there, you know, I don't take money from any Russian assets. Like that's just me. So I'm able to just kind of say what I really think on here with Dave. You never know. So I understand why he might not.
I mean, MSNBC is better to take money from MSNBC than fucking Russia, bro. Dude, what was Rubin's comeback? You take money from MSNBC. Like, oh, yeah, that's a good comeback, bro. Jesus, what a fucking clown, dude.
You know, he might want to pick his spots.
All right, well, let me bring in.
Great work you're doing at Bulwark, a real solid place of journalism over there.
Well, we haven't taken any money from the Russians at the Bulwark, Piers. I don't know if you know this, but Dave took $400,000 per month from a Russian information operation. And so you don't understand why.
And what was the name of the show that I did for the Russians? Tell me that.
Right now is just handing things over to the Russians. That he has to pretend to be outraged about things. You know, just you don't know who's paying the bill.
What was the name of the show I did for the Russians, champ?
It was Tenet Media that paid you. Tenet Media that paid you. Is that right? $400,000 per month and a $100,000 signing bonus. That not you?
Yeah, you just literally don't know what you're talking about, which is standard. You work for MSNBC and the Bulwark. It's impressive.
All right,
okay, so
let's try.
You weren't commentator one in that indictment there.
Did you see though, Dave Rubin? He's like trying to say what show, because what it was is it wasn't a specific show. What it was is Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson and Tim Pool. They interspersed various Russian bits of propaganda all throughout their content, and they made pieces of content for Tenet Media. So it was the Tenet Media's website. They were taking huge money from a Russian donor. There was no, like you Googled the name and there was no footprint. Okay, if some guy comes and offers me $400,000 and he says his name is Joe fucking Schmo, and I get on the fucking internet and I try to find Joe Schmo and there's no footprint on the internet, I'm like, dude, there's nobody coming to give me $400,000 a week who doesn't have a footprint on the internet. And that's when you know that money is shady. But they took it. They knew it was shady. They made the content for Tenet Media. They interspersed those Russian narratives in their own media. And then what they did was afterwards, they were like, oh, we didn't know. Yeah, you fucking knew.
Dave, that wasn't you?
Yeah, I was commentator one. It was nice to read something honest about me, that I did all my due diligence trying to figure out what was going on over there.
I did my due diligence of like not being able to find this guy in the internet. Yeah, Gregorian fucking 𝗙់•𝗪.
What's the name of the show? Tell me about the propaganda I put out there.
What was the name of the show? That was paying you. Tenet Media was a Russian. What was the name of the show? RT cutout.
See, he just keeps hammering away. What's the name of the show? What's the name of the show? He thinks he has a gotcha. But you notice, though, the way he does that repetitive, what's the name of the show? What's the name of the show? He's just trying to make it seem like, oh, I didn't actually do anything for that money. I mean, I don't know if Tim is prepped on this. I would have liked to have been in that room.
Yeah.
It was a Russian
literally
cutout.
don't know what you're talking about.
An RT
You don't
cutout.
know
They were
what
paying
you're
you. I've
talking
never
about,
been paid by a Russian cutout, so I don't exactly know how it all works.
You're paid by MSNBC, which is state-owned propaganda. You're paid by the Bulwark, which is which should be just called bullshit. That would be a better name of the network. Whatever the hell it is you people are doing.
Could I jump in on
What was the name of the show that I did? What was the name? You don't know.
I've told you several
because
times,
you
bro.
don't know what you're saying.
Dude, Rubin, maybe one day I'll get a chance to talk to Rubin. Dude, I'll eat that fucker up, bro. What he was doing, though, MSNBC is not state funded. What was that, dude? State funded? Like, goddamn, dude. See, there you go. That is what he got paid to say. Dude, that's what that 400 grand was, to say shit like that. MSNBC is state funded. It's state funded by what? Trump is funding MSNBC? It is Richard Grinnell paying MSNBC to fuck his wife? Right? Dude, is Trump paying MSNBC to fuck Melania since his little 2-inch fucking squish dick doesn't have anything left? No ammo left on it? Holy shit. Dude, but that Dave Rubin technique, though, that technique he was using is real specific. So Dave Rubin knows that the methodology behind how they did that content was not easily transparent. Like, it was all hidden under layers. And maybe Tim, it didn't really, like, I mean, there's a lot of conjecture of how it went, but some of it was making pieces of content for Tenet Media that were, Tenet Media had no viewers. Why were they making this content that was getting 10,000 views for Tenet Media? They're paying you 400 grand to get them 10,000 views, and interspersing some of those Russian narratives in their own content here and there, or Tim Pool, like, calling Ukraine the aggressor and all this shit. A lot of it was real subtle and real easy to hide. But so Dave Rubin's attempt to just hammer away, what was the name of the show? What was the name of the show? Knowing that there wasn't really an answer to that question because it wasn't about a specifically named show. It was more like a veil of shit that they intersperse into everything. But so Dave Rubin was asking Tim an unanswerable question and just repeating it. You know what I mean? That's the kind of shit that it's a technique. It's a technique, baby. Be well, baby. I love you guys. Let's go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.